Venice, a city of romance, graceful gondolas, and eternal carnival. Millions of people come here every year to experience its beautiful history. But just a few kilometers from the famous Piazza San Marco, in this very lagoon, lies a place that the tour guides prefer to keep quiet about. Poveglia Island, a land officially closed to visitors. Local boatmen and fishermen will refuse to take you there even for triple the price. They believe that a net cast into the waters near these shores yields human bones instead of fish. This place isn't mentioned in any guidebooks. But why has this tiny patch of land in the heart of Europe become a kind of hell on earth? Today, we'll set off to a place from which no one has ever returned unchanged. It all began in the 14th century when the Black Death, the bubonic plague, ravaged Europe. Venice, a major port hub, was melting away before our eyes. Corpses were piled up right on the streets. There was no escape. Then the Doges of Venice made a cruel but only possible decision: to isolate the living from the dying. Poveglia became the perfect natural prison. It wasn't just the dead that were brought here. Any citizen showing the slightest symptoms of a cold, be it a cough or a slight fever, was forcibly removed from their families and sent to the island. It was a one-way ticket. People were thrown into huge communal pits, plague ditches, while still alive. They were burned by the thousands to stop the spread of the disease. Historians estimate that over 160,000 people died here during the entire quarantine. The soil of Poveglia is unique. It consists of almost 50% human ash. You literally walk on the remains of those who screamed in pain in these foggy swamps. It would seem that history should have left this place alone. But in 1922, a massive brick building was erected on the island. Officially, a hospital for the elderly. Unofficially, it was a psychiatric hospital, where the mentally ill were taken from all over the area. Imagine. People who have lost their minds, locked on an island literally permeated with death. Almost immediately, patients began complaining to the staff. They claimed that the hospital walls began to groan at night, and charred ghosts from the Middle Ages stared at them from the corners. But who would believe the words of madmen? Their complaints were dismissed as merely a worsening of their illnesses. And then the hospital's chief physician stepped in. He went down in history as Dr. Paolo. Taking advantage of its complete isolation from the outside world, he turned the hospital into his personal testing ground. He believed that madness could be cured by physical manipulation of the brain. Without anesthesia, using ordinary construction tools, he performed lobotomies on patients atop the tall bell tower. The cries of the unfortunate were drowned out by the ringing of the bells and the sound of the wind. But Poveglia knows how to take revenge. In the mid-1930s, Dr. Paolo himself began to lose his mind. He claimed that the spirits of the patients he had tortured and the ghosts of the Plague Island haunted him every second. They whispered his name in the darkness. One night, driven mad by fear, the doctor climbed the very bell tower where he had maimed people and threw himself down. But the strangest thing happened next. A nurse who witnessed his fall reported that the doctor survived the impact with the ground. He lay there, gasping for breath, when a strange, thick black fog rose from the ground. It enveloped the doctor's body and literally suffocated him right before the eyes of the surviving staff. The hospital was hastily evacuated and closed forever. Not a single living soul remained on the island. Today, Poveglia is a dead zone. The Italian government has tried several times to auction off the island, lease it out for a luxury hotel, or restore the buildings. But all the investors fled after barely spending a single night there. The rare stalkers who have managed to secretly land on the beach tell the same story. Equipment and cameras instantly die. The air is thick with the smell of burning, and a sense of primal terror sends them running for their boats within half an hour. The island of Poveglia remains a monument to human pain, hidden in the fog of Venice. An island that seems to be non-existent. Would you risk your life for a night in such a place? Tell us in the comments what other mysterious places on the planet you'd like to learn about. Like it if you made it to the end. See you in the next story.